Here's a little riddle for you while I discuss the album Virgin by Lorde. What is the most important lyric? I think the most important lyric on this song is a single word, and it has no consonants. I'll let you think about that while I talk about this album, which is, I don't know, it's a lot of things all at once. It's moving, it's raw, and it's so horny. Unbelievably horny. But like, artistically horny, satisfyingly horny. It's not vulgar or crude or anything. It's, I don't know, humanly horny? I don't even know what I'm going to call this video. I might go with humanly horny. It's moving, because many of the songs are just really close to the bone. Like you can feel the emotional honesty that she's coming out with, and in different ways she is going to engage with your own emotional history. I mean, she has that ability. It's raw. There's a roughness in this production, which I really appreciate. She does great work with Jack Antonoff, but maybe it's good that they're not working together again. And obviously the horniness is just, she wants to bone. So thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who's trying more stuff for engagement. So you can guess what I think is the most important lyric, and you can tell me in the comments what you think is the most important lyric of this album. Is that stupid? I can't stop myself. I'm trying to do engagement stuff. Now, you may be surprised to hear me talk about Lorde, because I have had some comments from my sweet auditors saying that I don't talk enough about pop anymore. And it is true. I am a lot more dedicated to hip-hop these days. It's more in line with my actual research. I think what's happening in rap music is particularly interesting, but I'm never going to abandon all music. I think of that that meme of the woman and the kids drowning and everything. I think of sort of like indie pop or pop and divas as being like the things that are drowning. But I'm here, and I'm here to talk about this album, which I almost didn't review because on my first listen, it makes me uncomfortable, and I think that's an artistic decision. I don't think that's a mistake. But it makes me sort of uncomfortable. I mean, you take Solar Power. Just take the cover. Solar Power is an upskirt of her in her, I guess, bathing suit or thong. The thong. I don't quite know what she's wearing there. I don't know how that's a legal album cover. But you're looking up and you see the legs and you see the sun and you see the butt. And it has this sort of like a kind of vulnerability, but it's a very sort of corporeal vulnerability. It's like, look at my body. We'll get more to her body later. Not in a gross way, meaningful way, in like a deep, important human way. But this album covers like an X-ray. Listen, I'm 47, so I've had some scary X-rays. I'm very lucky, but when you've lived a lot of life, you've had scary X-rays. So I just see X-rays, I get a little spooked. I don't know, and there's like stuff in the X-ray. And, I said, okay, so that's an IUD, and there's like a zipper, and there's like a belt buckle. And so it just made me sort of uncomfortable, It's like a medical image. Hey, come to think of it. Oh, yeah. You know what? I think it's a play on the Sticky Fingers album cover, because there's the zipper. Oh, my, has she done that yet? Has she done a version where you can undo the zipper? Have you ever seen Sticky Fingers, the album cover? I have to go get it. I have to go get it. It's in my car, but I'm going to go get it. That's how dedicated I am to this concept. 1 second. All right, a little bit out of breath here. This is the album cover. This is the CD version they released a little while ago. It's by Andy Warhol, and it's just of a torso, and it has a prominent zipper. You can even zip it down, and you can open it up and say, "Ooh, look at the underwear!" Right? So this is like a very important album cover, considered to be one of the best album covers of all time. And it's interesting because you're sort of supposed to think that's Mick Jagger. It's not. It's Joe D'Alessandro, who is like this amazing actor in Andy Warhol's troupe. Also the cover model for the first Smiths album. Anyways, kind of an image of masculinity there. But this is like, this implies a certain amount of swagger. You got the dongle there. You got it in there. It has this sort of like swagger and this feel, and it projects a sort of sense of power. Whereas in Lorde's album, you have the zipper, and you had the sense of like seeing into some place you're not supposed to see. But instead of like, I don't know, seeing the outline of her privates, you see like all the way in. And I guess the IUD is really perfect. That's a really perfect image because it's sort of taboo. It's a form of birth control. A lot of people don't know what an IUD looks like. Before I ever saw one, I thought it was like, I had the image of like some kind of like metal thing. I don't know. I had basically some kind of medieval torture device in my head. That was just what I thought. And I heard that song by Peaches, and I just sort of like got it stuck in my head. So it's kind of it's uncomfortable, right? It just makes me uncomfortable, which I think it's supposed to, because it's showing a level of vulnerability to where she is literally showing you the birth control that is inside her vagina. That's like more vulnerable than actually showing her vagina or showing her butt, as she did on her last album, right? Then we get to the title Virgin. I spent a lot of my youth being ashamed of my virginity. I think a lot of people did. And like, I'm a Virgo, and I don't believe in horoscopes, but I also don't believe in making fun of people who do. So if you believe in horoscopes, all religions are valid, equally valid and invalid in my opinion. But I hated that. I hated it because people would say, Skye, what are you? I'm a Virgo. And they go, oh, are you a virgin? I'd be like, yes. So even there. So I don't know. So I was like kind of scared. I think I was intimidated by this album. I think that IUD really messed with me because it just felt way too personal. Well, almost, I bet most people who look at it don't even know what it is, because statistically, most people don't know what an IUD looks like. And, I really liked Solar Power. And I went back and reviewed Melodrama while I was reviewing Solar Power, because Melodrama is one of the most requested albums for me to go back to. And what I realized is this album, this new album, Virgin, is like amazing. It's I don't know. I mean, I need more time with it. It's definitely a grower, but it might be as good as Melodrama. And I know everyone's going to get super mad at me when I say that, but hear me out. I think what ended up happening was that Solar Power was her crash. So before Brat, Charlie XCX released an album called Crash, which was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was good. It was maybe thematically not quite consistent with her previous or future work. Production-wise, it was sort of there. There's something that was just a little bit off. So I think this single title album released in the summer might be Lorde's Brat in kind of a weird, funny way. In a weird, funny way where it's like the story of a woman in her late 20s or early 30s, right? She's 28, in her late 20s, working with her sexuality, and what does it mean to be a woman, and what does it mean to grow up, and what does it mean to be a mother or not be a mother, and sexual relationships. They feel like they're playing in very similar places, even if the projection is very different. Whereas Brad is like right in your face and dude might do a bump, blah, 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 bump, right? All that kind of stuff. This is a lot more like, look at my X-ray. You know what this is like? Okay, I'm really riffing now. It is 8:12 a.m. and I am absolutely riffing. This is like, Lorde is like like an art school kid who is putting on like a really personal show all about like her body and her sexual journey. And she's putting on the show. And then Charlie is like her friend who's a little bit wild, showing up absolutely drunk off her ass to the opening night of the show at the gallery, right? So Lorde is there, and she's like, and this is the story about when my hymen broke. And then Charlie's in the back going like, yeah, like smashing bottles. It has that kind of energy. Tell me, was this a good road to go down, Skye? I'm still out of breath from running to get the album from my car. So, Solar Power, like my main issues with Solar Power was that it had that kind of like Jared Leto-ish, like, let me tell you about the truth. Listen to a millionaire celebrity about wisdom and knowledge. But this doesn't feel like that. It feels like she went away. This is a lot less cultish. What I love about Virgin is how backwards looking it is, but it's not nostalgic. It's like she's talking a lot about her past, her distant past, her recent past. It's a breakup album, but it's not bitter. Let me just say that again. It's a breakup album that's not bitter. It's also not particularly sweet. realistically, if we think about it, I don't think there's ever been a breakup album like this because it's very clearly in response to a breakup. But there's, with like maybe one exception, no real like you did this and I did that and now I'm free and all that. Like there's a weird sort of honest ambiguity to this. And part of the reason why I think it's so horny is because it's a breakup album. There's a particular kind of horniness that overcomes you when you break up out of a long relationship. It's like this exciting, terrifying feeling of like, I could be with anyone I want and nobody will ever want me. I will die alone. She liked my picture. You know what I mean? It's that kind of weird mixture of feelings. And I think this album really captures that really well. While at the same time, it's not really bitter about her ex who she just broke up with, but it's sort of bitter. But what's fascinating is there's a flow. There's this imperceptible exchange. When is she talking about her ex-boyfriend and when is she talking about the music industry? They just go together till you think she's talking about one and then she's talking about another. It's amazing. It's an amazing idea because she's not like bitter at her career and about being a celebrity and losing privacy and all that. She's not like, how can this happen? You stole my childhood. But at the same time, there's a sense of a growing resentment at what she lost at being a celebrity, while at the same time, there's a growing resentment of the loss that she had of dating this guy. If you haven't watched, if you don't just watch Jake Shane talk to artists whenever he does, then you're just losing out. his show Therapist, I'm mad because the dude's 21 years younger than me, and it's like, fuck you for being so good at this while being 21 years younger than me. But what are you going to do? He's just so good. He's so good at interviewing people and especially pop stars and sort of getting so much out of them in a very nice and agreeable way. And she said on that interview that there was an alternate title. I think I know what the alternate title was. Drum roll. I think the alternate title was Since I Was 17, because I think that's the most repeated thing. And I think it gives that sense of like, her thinking about her loss of innocence through this relationship and through the relationship she's had and through the times through the industry and through her career. Speaking of 17, that was the age gap between her and the guy she just broke up with. I'm not like into the scandals, but I wanted to look that up. So yeah, that's pretty big. There's a pretty big power dynamic there. And then the fact that the guy who she broke up with was in the industry makes that meld between the ex-boyfriend and the industry itself more clear. So, damn it, sorry. So I use this like remote mouse, and if I do it all the way to the right, my computer just freezes. But I'm still recording. The microphone's still going. We're all good. So it's a freedom album in a real way. Virgin, rebirth, becoming anew. And one of the things that she's free of is not just this relationship with this old music executive, is that she's not with Jack Antonoff. And she's worked with him for the last couple of albums. And I think that's good. I think that makes a really good break, even though I love Jack Antonoff. If you watch my channel, you know. But now she's working with Jim E. Stack. And what's crazy is that Jim E. Stack's other production credit this year, or other major production credit this year, is that Bon Iver album, the Bon Iver album. So, I don't know. I think when this whole moment in pop is written, they're just going to say, like, was Bon Iver, like, the most important person in pop music in the 2020s? It feels like his fingerprints are everywhere, and just the kind of like softness and introspection and sort of etherealness that is in the Bon Iver album comes over here. And I don't think that Jack Antonoff can create that in the same way that Jimmy Stack could. Stylistically, there's a repetitiveness to the stylistic choices that I think is good. It usually starts with just her voice and one other instrument. And there's a rawness. A real rawness to her voice. I don't think there's any auto-tune, or if there is, it's very minimal. And it's just her voice just talking with one instrument. And it gives you that sense of intimacy, that sense of too close, that sense of, like you do this, and then you open up, and then instead of seeing the guy in his underwear, you're seeing the stitch from the varicocele surgery he had. Okay? Don't look that up. Don't look that up. It's too personal. It's too personal. Spaghetti everywhere. So, this album is just like more vibey, less poppy. And I think it works. But that makes it perhaps... It seems as though the critical reaction is kind of mixed. And that makes sense because I'm saying this as a critic, because critics are kind of, not idiots, but it's, I shouldn't use that word. Critics are silly. The main reason that we're silly is we just have to go through so much music. So sometimes albums that are growers, it's just really hard to appreciate them properly in the amount of time that we give ourselves to review music. So let's get to it. Let's get to the album. Let's get to the first track, Hammer. So it's a song all about Oakland rapper MC Hammer. I get one bad joke. That was it. Whining helicopter intro. The voice is just so thin and real and weak. And the whole opening is just super horny, but horny in a really real and relatable way. There's a heat in the pavement, my mercury's raising. I don't know if it's love or if it's ovulation. Hormones play a huge role in the human sexual experience. For men and for women. That's just true. And ovulation does have that kind of impact. And just hearing that, I'm like, oh my God. I obviously don't have ovaries. Not obviously. I don't have ovaries. If you did an x-ray, you would not see ovaries. But it is true that there are certain times of the month where, especially if you're in a couple, where that feeling, that need to recreate, to procreate, happens. And she's describing that really well. If you're holding a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I think she's just saying that she's so horny that everything looks like sex. The mist from the fountain is kissing my neck, and liquid crystals in my grip. Anyone with a snake tongue, I show him the chambers of my heart. A lot of these themes of x-rays, of what's the term when you see into something? Transvisibility? No. Whatever it is, like a sort of x-ray vision all the way throughout here. Then she says, some days I'm a woman, some days I'm a man. Oh, I'm not going to make a big deal out of that because I feel like I understand her, and I feel like the best way to understand her is to not try to say, oh, so she's trans, or oh, so she's NB. I don't think it's that. I mean, I think it's trans friendly. I think it's non-binary friendly. I think it's friendly of the idea that the gender is a social construct and that that it's easy. But I think it's more kind of like a feeling. And I can tell you that I have had that feeling in my life. I have felt at times, I feel sort of like a woman. I feel sort of like a man. And not in a way where I feel like my identity is changed or that I'm not representing properly who I am as a person, but just the fluidity of gender. There are days where the fluidity of gender is more apparent. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe you don't feel that way. I know I felt that way, and I think it's a good feeling, even though our society generally doesn't like it. It's a fucked up world, and I've been to hell and back, but I've sent you a postcard from the edge. Shout out to Carrie Fisher. She wrote a book called Postcards from the Edge. She wrote the screenplay of the book for the Meryl Streep movie. It's a movie way ahead of its time about being an aging actress in Hollywood in the 1980s. It's hilarious. It's depressing. It's got Meryl Streep. I really wish Carrie had acted in it herself. And then we get to the song What Was That?, which I guess is probably going to be the big hit off the album, but it's probably my least favorite song. It just kind of feels... Sorry. This just feels like Sex in the City. It feels like she moved to New York and she'd already watched 10 seasons of Sex in the City, and now she gets to live it out. Like, she gets to walk around to Union Square Park or wherever the hell she is, and she does ecstasy and smokes cigarettes and has great sex and all that. It's cool. It's fine. I'm not looking down on it, even though it sounds like I am. It's just not really for me. But Then she says, since I was 17, I gave you everything. Now we wake from a dream. Well, baby, what was that? So like the what was that seems to be tying into this relationship that's over and her happy memories about it, while at the same time it's about her relationship to the industry. And now that she's 28, I still can't believe how young she is. That's crazy. I feel like I've been hearing about Lorde for like 32 years. That is statistically improbable. But like, she's waking from the dream and she gets to say, what was that? And it's almost as though she's leaving the industry. I don't think she is, but I think she's like leaving the initial mindset that she had while being in the industry and pairing that while leaving this boyfriend. And they let the beat ride. And Daniel Nigro is co-producing on here. Man, coming for the crown. He's coming for that Antonov crown. We just re-listened to that Chaperone album the other day on the hi-fi. Man, that album's good. Okay, then we get to Shapeshifter, kind of rapping a little bit over this really nice compressed drum beat. I just love how it gets more and more lush as it goes. And remember how I said that whole thing about the art show? Well, I was inspired by the fact that this song quotes the idea of the art piece called Everyone I've Ever Slept With, 1963 to 1995, by Tracy Emin, which was a piece that she displayed. It's a tent, and she wrote and she stitched into the tent the names of everybody she ever slept with. And it's great. It's a great piece of art because it's this album cover. Oh no, that was the other album title. Oh, damn it. It wasn't Since I Was 17. The other title was Everyone I've Ever Slept With. That totally makes sense. And it could have just been a tent. And it could have had the names on there. And I'm sure she would get permission from Tracy Emin herself. You know, it would have been great because the whole idea is this willing violation of her private space. That's why she's showing you her x-ray, why she's showing you her IUD. Do you know the song Fatherfucker by Peaches? Or is that what the song's called? That's what the album's called. IUD. Anyways, look up on any streaming service, Peaches. First song, listen to that one. It'll change your life. But this has this sense of like letting you into her space, which is what the tent is. You are let into her. Come on, everybody. Everybody I've ever slept with. It is her symbolic womb, her symbolic vagina. That's what you do when you go into this tent and you see all these names. That's what you're doing when you're looking at this x-ray. And then she's just giving you these names and allowing you to make the determinations. I've been on the pedestal, but tonight I just want to fall. Beautiful lyric. She just doesn't want to be a pop star anymore. She just wants to be a human being. Everyone that I've slept with, all the pairs of hands, I'm reckless. If I'm fine without it, why can't I stop? The way that she constantly needs validation from people to sleep with her so that she feels validation. Hey, Lord, we've all been through breakups. It sucks. I feel bad. Oh, man. I kept this one woman on the line. We were texting back and forth on a dating app just for so long, and I never asked her out. And it was just because I was too shy, but I now realize, man, she must have been like, this is going to work out. Anyways, hope she's doing well. This should be a hit. I don't know. This should be a hit in the way where it's a hit and you go, well, like, what was that song? Why was that song so big? And then Man of the Year. I guess this ties more into the concept of the sort of gender-bending aspect of the album, which, again, I think is more spiritual than literal, but I don't know. I don't speak for anybody. Kind of a pavement-style bass opening, and she talks about, like, gliding through on her bike. Now, there's a whole thing in this song where when she's talking about being a man, what I think is, if you read Simone de Beauvoir, she talks about this a lot. I remember one time I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. We were at a stoplight. I remember where. Like we were at a stoplight. It was on the intersection of Monroe and French. Okay? Like, so if you're anywhere in the Rochester area, I think that's where it was. Or maybe it was closer to the city. But point was, there were just these two dudes. And they had satchels on. One of them was a little overweight. The other one was in pretty good shape. And they were just walking and talking. And I just said, like, those dudes are living the life. And my friend, she was like, yeah, sometimes I just wish I could be a dude like that. was like, what do you mean? Like, just walking around with a satchel, you know? Like, and I didn't really understand it because, when you have institutional privilege, one of the first thing you have to do is recognize it. So the amount of time I've spent in my life walking around just being a doofus dude, not having to worry about a single goddamn thing. No one's going to honk at me. No one's going to say anything. I'm not in any danger. No one's going to be judging me. I just get to be a dude walking around, just a doofus in public. There's a kind of cavalier freedom to being a man, which, to make it corporeal again, is sort of representative just to the biological reality of being able to urinate while standing up. Really, you have to read Simone de Beauvoir. I'm not coming up with all this myself. But there's like a kind of carefreeness, the ability to have children without having to carry them to term yourself. There's a freedom to being a man. And that's what I think this is. I think that's what this is. Go about my day riding it like a wave, playing it any way I want, swish, mouthwash, jerk off. Just the freedom to just be whatever, So I relate to that. And again, I think it's unfair. I think it's terrible that the women don't have that sense of freedom and ease in public life, in private life. But I think that's what she's describing here. Did I mention this is a good album? So when she says, let's hear it for the man of the year, I think that's how she feels. I think she feels like she is the man of the year, like she's trying to give herself credit and she's trying to appreciate this kind of carefree freedom that she is trying to have. This great, for a hit song, there's just nothing. It's so minimal. Like the kind of like industrial drums, the sort of beat change happens so late in the song. It's great. Now we get to what I think is the emotional heart of the album, a little suite of songs that is exclusively for people in their late 20s and trying to mediate their relationship with young adulthood and their parents. So this is going to be how the next bit of the album is going to go. First song is about her mother. Next song is talking to her mother about the sex that she is currently having. Then a song about that sex potentially leading to becoming a mother herself. And then once you realize you're not going to become a parent, you try to understand what is it that makes you an adult? What is it to be an adult? Let's go on this journey with Lorde. Or as I thought she was pronounced initially, Lorde. Favorite daughter. Upbeat kind of Gary Glitter style drums, singing about the early days of her career and about being a childhood star. And this is the confusing and wonderful thing. It seemed, her mother is a Croatian poet a Yugoslavian poet from the part of Yugoslavia that is now called Croatia. Sorry, I'm married to a Yugoslavian, so let's be specific, right? Coming from Yugoslavia is different than coming from Croatia, right? Which doesn't mean that all Croatians are Yugoslavians and all Yugoslavians are Croatians. I'm just saying that there's a historical aspect of that. Anyways, why am I talking about this? Doesn't matter. What does matter is that she fled during the war and the terrible times. Or maybe before. I don't know when it was that she fled. But the point is, she is an interesting figure of poetry in New Zealand. So she's an artist and she's a creative. And she's someone who obviously Lorde looks up to. And obviously she should look up to her because she's a powerful, creative woman, which is what Lorde is as well. And so the song is like in honor of her. But there's this little bit. Let's see if I can get it down in the bottom of the frame there. This little bit of bitterness. That's sort of like, did I have to do all this to be your favorite daughter? Did I have to do all this? Because I'm an actress, all of the medals I won for you, breaking my back just to be your favorite daughter? This song has a ghostwriter. Yeah, she didn't write these lyrics. Do you know who wrote these lyrics? Honey Boo Boo. So, think about that. Now, she didn't. But do you see how the song can be seen in a different way? Whew. Now, we move on to the next song, which is in conversation with that mother, who she can obviously still rely on, about basically being single and having lots of sex. Great kind of 80s moving bit with these single guitar notes. He tastes in my underwear. He spit in my mouth. My bed's on fire. Mama, I'm scared. So whatever relationship she has with her mom, the fact that she can talk to her mom about this is pretty awesome. Right? It's very difficult to have an open relationship, an emotionally open relationship, talking about sex with your kids or with your parents. I know the closest I ever came to talking about sex with my parents was the time my mom found a condom in my jacket when she was putting it in the wash. And she did not do laundry, really. So I don't know how that happened. Skye, I found this. We must never speak of this again. But I like it. Were you ever like this? Like, she's trying to connect with her mother on a human level, because even though, you know, your parents had a sex life, your parents were dating, your parents were trying to figure this stuff out, it's great. And then there's this awesome sample of Dexter Daps' Morning Love, a dancehall reggae song. And like, if you actually read the lyrics, it's like, pussy got her grip. It's actually like a really, really dirty song. And it's sexy and vulnerable, horny and vulnerable. And so then we have that. So we have the, what was my relationship like with my mother? Hey, I'm having lots of crazy sex. Hey, mom, did you ever go through this too? Now we get to the song Clear Blue, which is like, oh my God, a song Clear Blue, which is about the pregnancy tests. And it's just a vocoder basically the entire time, or maybe auto-tune, whatever it is. It's just this very emotional voice first, after the ecstasy, testing for pregnancy, praying in MP3. I'm scared to let you see into the whole machine, leave it all out on the field. So I suppose this is before the IUD. I don't know. But again, if you've ever been in a sexually active relationship, pregnancy scares are a very common thing. A heterosexual, sexually active relationship, pregnancy scares are a very real thing. I mean, I think everybody has run out to CVS and bought in Clear Blue and just been like, oh no, or like, oh yeah. Pregnancy tests are like coin flips. So, you know, when you have to decide something and you flip a coin, the value of flipping a coin is not deciding what it lands on. It's while the coin is in the air, you know what you want it to be before it lands. That's how you have to make your decision. So if you're let's make it simple. You're at the ice cream store. You're like, do I want strawberry or vanilla? You say, I can't decide. I'm going to flip a coin. While the coin's in the air, you go, oh man, I hope it lands on vanilla. It lands. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're getting the vanilla, right? Because that's what you decided you wanted. When you are waiting for the pregnancy test, this is coming from a dude who does not have to go through the extreme difficulty and wonderful joy of motherhood. In that time that you're waiting for the blue line to appear or not appear, you know what you want. You know if you're happy or if you're not. And it's not really clear in this song how she feels, except that she's free. I'm nobody's daughter. I'm free. It is a spectacular piece of art. It is a ridiculously important piece of art. It is describing something that happens to women millions of times a year. Millions of times a year, women take pregnancy tests and have these ambiguous feelings and are trying to figure out. And especially as we're here and we're in this moment. And just last year, we had that whole Charlie XCX song where she's talking about, think about it all the time. I think about it all the time, right? Where she like really lets her accent out and just kind of talks about thinking about it all the time, right? There's all these pop stars of the last 10 years as they are aging and they're thinking about whether or not they want to be a parent. It's really important, and it's really important for their audience. It is a spectacular piece of art that's as good as anything I could think of. The freedom of a negative test, the terrible freedom, the lovely freedom. Think about how crazy a pregnancy test is. And also in the current environment where our government doesn't respect women, the fact that that's not even a choice that people have, many people in our country don't even have, makes it even more. Anyway, smash the like bucket, subscribe. Let's see, I've waded into the Yugoslavian Civil War. I've talked about abortion. So you got to like the smash bucket. You got to smash the like bucket. You got to subscribe, because we're going to talk about my favorite song on the album, Grow Worm, GRWM. This is the whole album in a nutshell, okay? Me in a nutshell. Let me out. Austin Powers. Okay, grown woman. Soap. Washing him off my chest. Keeping it light, not overthinking it. All right, so washing him off my chest. Okay, I'm probably already demonetized because I said the word abortion, but washing. Anyways, I think we know what that means. I think we know what is on her chest and how it got there. Okay? What sexual act led to that? So that's an extremely erotic, extremely snapshot, real life. You see it. You know this happened. Keeping it light, not overthinking it. So these are after sex shower thoughts. Whoa. Okay? So whoever this guy is, keeping it light, not overthinking it. I'm not overthinking what I'm washing off my chest. I'm not overthinking what this relationship is. But then the whole song is about overthinking it. This is a song for all of us overthinkers. All right? True story. I watch YouTube while I take showers. Because if I don't, I get so lost to my thoughts. So I usually watch Super Mario Maker playthroughs, a guy named DGR. That's what I usually watch while I shower. I seriously, because if I'm just left alone in my thoughts in the shower, I'll just be there half an hour later just thinking about ideas. Okay? That's how I keep it light. Permanent distraction. And so it's all these thoughts that she's having while she's sitting there cleaning off her chest. Maybe you'll find you know who you want to be, a grown woman in a baby tee. And so she has this image of like who she wants to be, a grown woman in a baby tee. A baby tee is a small t-shirt, so it indicates an infantileness. It indicates like an inability to grow up, but at the same time she is a grown woman, but because she's 28, is that who she wants to be? Some important things to watch. Young Adulthood, written by Diablo Cody. Directed by Jason Reitman, starring Charlize Theron. That's an interesting treatise on womanhood and age. And of course, the entire TV show Girls. Hey, it's a good show that did a lot of really important things. I understand why people dislike it and what. Okay, I understand. But our society, our culture is very happy to throw away very important creations by women and people of color when it becomes convenient to do so. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. All the problems that we may have with the creators and the stars and all that of that show, man, does that show do a good job of describing a lot of the pains and difficulties and complex feelings about trying to become a woman in our modern society. Great. Perfect song. It's so powerful. Wide hips, soft lips, my mama's trauma. So the trauma that her mother has is being passed on to her. And this is my segue, not hers. This is my segue. Because when I was like 11 years old, my parents didn't give me the sex talk. Okay? We've already discussed this. They didn't. My dad, which is funny because he often smelled quite strongly, gave me a thing of deodorant and just goes, Skye bar, you know about this stuff? That was it. That was the entirety of the sex talk from my dad. My mom once sat me down right before bed. I was lying down on my bed. She goes, Skye, I just want you to know something. You are going to have greasy hair and wide hips. Good night. Okay. Not her best parenting. It's like, I will? I do? Okay. I say that because the next song is called Broken Glass, which has this like really thin hollaback girl style drums and like New Order style synthesizers, but it's about breaking the mirror. It's about having an eating disorder. It's about having body dysmorphia. Okay? And there needs to be more songs about this. She says in some of her interviews that she couldn't even finish the song because it was so personal. I want to punch the mirror, make her see that this won't last. It might be months of bad luck, but what if it's just broken glass? I spent my summer getting lost in math, making weight took all I had. I won't outrun if you don't hit back. It's just broken glass. I mentioned it a couple times on this channel, but like I think it's important. Okay, many of my viewers are male. Men have dysmorphia. Men have eating disorders. Okay? I'm just going to say it because what the hell? You want my x-ray? I'm currently in therapy for it. Started like a month ago. Okay? I'm currently in therapy for having eating disorders and body dysmorphia because I've been suffering with it like my entire life, probably since my mom said I was going to have wide hips. And like, I'm only saying that because if you're a dude and you feel like, yeah, but that's, no, I'm just a pussy. I don't have a problem. I just go to the gym and drink 5 gallons of water. Okay? Everybody can get bit by it. Everybody can be hurt by it. And I listen to this song and it makes me cry because I relate to it and I see it. Getting lost in math. In math. In math. If you've ever had an dysregulated eating, math? Lorde pulls math out on me? I got goosebumps because of how real this is, because of how honest this is, how important it is. Jesus, it's tough to admit just how much I get from it. Hey, go back. Watch my videos from 2018. Look at that thin bastard, okay? I can't watch my old videos because I just say, oh my God, gravity's really driving my chins down and my beard's all white and not that. This is going back and my hairline was holding so strong for so long up until I hit 47, right? Like I can't look at my old videos because I just see, look at that sexy bastard, right? That's what I see. Now at the time that I made those videos, I thought, who is this fat bastard, right? It's very weird, you know? Meanwhile, my wife is just like, I just want you to love you for who you are. Like, shut up. Don't you dare accept me. You know, like, but how much you get from it. Like when you feel sexy, when you feel like you're the good weight, when you feel like that, when you go into Banana Republic and you try on the coats with the trim fit and you got a little bit of space. Oh. And the girls, they look at you more, and the guys, they look at you more. Okay? And there's a lot more flirtatious. There's a lot more of that kind of excitement. It is tough to admit how much you get from it. Now, how much you lose from it is happiness, joy, a sense of self, all that. But it's like, it's, God, fucking Lord, man. God damn it. Why'd you have to write this song, huh? Why'd you have to write this song? All right. Then we get to the song, If She Could See Me Now. At this point, I'm so emotionally wrecked from the album that I can barely even listen to it. But I like this because I think this is about her younger self, like if her younger self could see her now, right? I'm in the gym, I'm exorcising all my demons, make them keep writing. Yesterday I lifted your body weight, pick a song and listen to it till it's just a piece of music. That's how I am when I listen to this music. An unexpected outro, big and inspirational. And then we get to the song David. Slow rumbling sounds. Oh, dark day, was I just someone to dominate? Quick note here. I looked up what is the song, like what does the title mean? Hey, the sun's coming out. The sun's coming out. Beautiful. I've seen a lot of people say it refers to the statue of David by Michelangelo. I don't do advertisements, but I need to tell you this. You must, if you are financially capable of flying to Italy, you must see the statue of David in person. I understand that comes from a place of privilege, okay? But you have to promise me this. Next time you go on a vacation, I don't care. Oh, I want to go to Orlando. Duh, I want to see Avatar on a tree in Disney World. No, okay? You do the math. And if you can afford a vacation at all, make it to Florence. And you can spend a day there. You have to see Michelangelo's David in person, not the one that's outside in the square. That's like it's like a recreation. You have to go and actually see it in person, no matter how many times you've seen it recreated. I read an entire book about David on the way to Florence, like a little tiny book all about the statue. I thought I knew what I was going to see. And it was like seeing a sunset for the first time in my life. It was like growing up underground and seeing a sunset for the first time. It was the most beautiful experience I could possibly have. It was unbearably beautiful. So some people say that this is about Michelangelo's theory of that, he's freeing David from the stone, that the sculpture is inside the stone and he just has to free it, and that she is like that. She just has to be free of all, the industry and the boyfriend and all that. I think that's quite possible. So anyways, there's my advertisement. See David. And also, ride Space Mountain. I'm talking shit about Disney, but Space Mountain is the David of roller coasters. And it's about exploitation of love and of industry. If I had virginity, I would have given that to you. Fascinating line, fascinating sentence. And it's just all this thing between the lover, it's about the lover, and it's about the industry. Ever since I was 17, you did this, and I was there, and we never quite know which one she's singing about because she's singing about both. And her voice is so raw when she asks you, am I ever going to love again? And now you're sitting here saying, Skye, but you haven't told us the most important lyric of the album that has no vowels yet. I shall do so presently. Why do we run to the ones we do? I don't belong to anyone. Ooh. That's the lyric. Ooh. She sings it even better than I do. Ooh is the most important lyric. Let me tell you why. It's not the lyric. The proper lyric is this. Why do we run to the ones we do? I don't belong to anyone but you. That's what fits the rhyme. That's what fits the meter. Why do we run to the ones we do? I don't belong to anyone but you. Right? That works way more. The ooh is a place filler, and it's replacing but you. The freedom of the album is that she asks, why do we run to the ones we do? I don't belong to anyone. And for the entire time that she felt indentured to this relationship or to this career or to this past life, I don't belong to anyone. She should say, but you. But she doesn't. She makes us uncomfortable in this space and fills it with ooh. And the ooh is the ooh of freedom. It's the ooh of nothingness. It's just an utterance. It's an onomatopoeia of freedom. Ooh, you sitting at your desk right now, just say ooh once. It doesn't. If people around you, you can say ooh once. They're not going to know. You just go ooh, and then I say what? And you say, oh, nothing. There's a really good sale at Banana Republic. I did exposure therapy, by the way, with my wife. I went there and the slim fit jackets. Anyways, it's okay. Therapy on Thursday. Did not close. Not even close. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person, technically. The ooh is the freedom. That's what's important. Ooh. And kind of a nice Bon Ivory outro. So there's my review of this album, which I love increasingly and increasingly. These are my Patreons. They help me to buy music. They help me to support. They support me, and I buy a lot of music. I also buy a lot of diapers these days because I've had 4 clear blue tests come back with baby time, which is awesome. I love being a dad. It's great. I hope my children write songs about me that are as interesting and ambiguous as this. Not that yet. That. And also, hey, if you want to be a Patreon, go over there, Patreon Professor Skye. But also, you can be a super subscriber here on YouTube. You just sort of just do that. So thanks to all of them. I also ask for shout outs from Patreon. Mark Wakely, Mig Online, Arvin Mendoza, who says that Australians claim her even though she's from New Zealand. Australians doing everybody dirty. But that's okay. Americans do the same thing with Canadians. Like Jim Carrey, he's American now. Justin Bieber, can't quite tell. We'll decide if he's American or not. And then also, they didn't say anything, but Kira Leoniver has been one of my longest. They're on here somewhere, right? Yeah. Been one of my longest Patreons. Huge Lorde fan. So they must have just missed the Patreon post. So Kiro, you're getting a shout out as well. This is 6 years of me not pronouncing your name correctly. All right. Until next time, everybody. There's the camera. Ooh.